Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we are taking a cool little drone that lights up. No, I'm not wearing sunglasses to be cool. I've had an eye infection for 3 weeks. I'm getting behind on making videos. And instead of just putting it off, I thought I'd wear sunglasses so you don't have to look at my ugly mug with my infected eye. So today we're taking a look at the Tomzon A34. And you're thinking, James, why do you have 3 of them? So when Tomzon reached out to me and wanted me to review this drone, I said, please send me 3 because I really like these drones that light up for a certain situation. I've always said that the best drone to learn on is these little micro mini drones, but I'm wrong if you're in a different situation. If you're alone in your room and you're flying around, that's great. But I love to put about 6 of these in the air when I do my drone presentations. So the DOT, which is the Department of Transportation, and the FAA, they reach out to me because I'm the Director of Education and Training for AUVSI Lone Star, and they want me to do a drone presentation to teach young kids about the industry. And so I love part of my presentation, and of course the kids like it the most, is when they get to fly the drones. So if there's 80 kids there, about the most I want to put in the air is 6 drones. So when I fly these, they lose the orientation of it when it gets up in the air because they're small and it's hard to see it. But when you use these ones that light up and you have multiple in the air, it's really easy to see which drone's yours, even if they're all the same color. Because one thing you can do is you can change the lights on it. Colors, kind of like the DRL drone races, how they all have different aspects of what they do. So you can have the lights rotating or blinking or things like that, and it's just easy to watch your drone when it's in the air. And why are these drones so important? Well, I've shown this guy hundreds of times. Most people, they go out and they spend a fortune on a drone, they come home with something like that because they don't understand the orientation of a drone. What I mean by that is even these big drones, they go up and down, they pitch forward and back, they roll left and right, and they yaw left and right. So when you're flying the drone, it's really easy to get confused. But if you're young and you have this thing in the air, man, like in 20 minutes, you're going to start learning the orientation of it with your subconscious. You don't even have to think about it. If you're an old guy like me, it's going to take you a little bit longer. So I reviewed 2 or 3 of these drones that light up about this size. So let's go outside and fly it and see how this one compares to the other ones. And we'll fly it indoors. I'll see. But one thing that really impressed me is how long this one stays in the air. Every year it seems like these mini drones, they fly longer and longer. The flight characteristics get better and better and they come out with more options and the prices keep going down. This one's this price on Amazon right now. And it comes with 2 batteries, a really nice remote, and it's just tons of fun. So if you're by yourself and you want to fly one of these little micro mini drones, it's a great way to learn. But just the fact of having lights adds a whole different aspects that makes it more pleasurable to fly these drones. So let's go put her up in the air outside, and then I'll come back. I'll kind of go over the characteristics of the drone, and then we'll come back for our final review. So as soon as you take off, if you're outside, go straight to speed 3. Because you're going to need all that power if there's any kind of wind. As you can tell by the pond, there's not much wind today. It's a great way to learn outside because you have wide open spaces. There's a little flip. It does a tight little flip. Some of them take like 3 feet to flip. Of course, you can't see the lights outside. I wish you could turn them off on this drone to save a little bit of battery life, but you can see the bright light in the front, so you can learn the orientation of it. But once you get to flying it around, you'll learn the orientation of it very quickly by just the direction it's going and the input that you're putting on the controls. I'll go over the controller and how to change the speeds and everything when we sit down and go over it in a minute. As you can tell, it's got a lot of speed. It's just fun getting so much out of something so small, and just a great way to learn how to fly a drone. Even if you have a lot of experience with drones, these are a lot of fun to fly outside. It's pretty hard to fly them and not have a smile on your face. So that's the spin feature it has. It also will do like a bigger circle. Lots of fun, but if it's windy outside, you can't put any input into the controls once it's spinning. But if you're inside, it's just a lot of fun, especially when it's dark, and I'll show you in a little bit and how it lights up at night and it spins. It's really cool looking. So as always, I try to say, have an agenda. Once you learn the orientation of the controls, if you're aimlessly flying it around, it'll start to get boring. So try to challenge yourself, have it fly around you, do figure 8s, or buy a couple of them and challenge your friend to little races. It's fun to make little race gates out of PVC and pulled noodles from the dollar store. So they did send me these drones, but they're not paying me. They don't have any input on this review, but I have nothing bad to say about this drone. There's absolutely no latency in the controls. A lot of these budget drones, when you push it left or right, there's a delay of about a half a second or a second, where this one's immediate. These little drones just keep getting better and better, and this one's got really good flight time. I'll show that to you after we fly it inside. Talking about flying it inside, so let's go inside and we'll fly it when it's kind of dark inside and show you how cool the lights look. So let's turn the lights on a little bit and turn the volume down. You heard how loud it was. If you're flying it inside, it's not bad. Some of these little mini drones are so loud and they drive you nuts. This one has a really nice little pleasant tone to it. Having the bright lights just adds a whole nother feature that makes it more fun to fly and much easier to learn how to fly with the green lights in the front and the blue ones in the back. It does have a bright light in between the greens, and there's the spin feature. That's my favorite feature of it all. You do have to hit the spin button again to stop. Some of them you just push input in any direction and it'll stop, but this one you actually have to hit the spin button again. And here's the loop. So it does about a 4 or 5 foot loop. Make sure you have a big open area and you don't hit your light fixtures like that. But with those covered props, it just bounces off and keeps going. You can just about bounce into the walls and it'll stay in control and it doesn't hurt it. The only time I've ever hurt one is when my dog caught it midair. He's 16 years old, he has one tooth, and he broke one of the props. There's the flip again. Like I said, it flips like in 1 foot. Some of them take like 3 feet and smash into stuff. So you start out flying for fun, and before you know it, in a few minutes, you've learned the orientation of how to fly a drone. And it makes him feel much more comfortable when you go out to fly the big ones. Here's one of the things that really impressed me with this drone. It flew for 8 minutes. That's a long time. It comes with 2 batteries. They take about an hour and a half to charge back up. So let's sit down and I'll go over the functions of the remote and the drone, and then we'll come back for our final review. All right, let's see what it weighs in at with the battery on there. It weighs 63 grams. How much is 63 grams? About the same weight as a small little Huggy. So when you open up the box, you're gonna get the drone, you're gonna get a little bag, and 2 batteries and a controller. And underneath that, you're gonna get a manual and you're gonna get a precaution and tips guide, which is really cool. But what I really like is on top of this controller, it has this little piece of paper that it really goes over all the controls and what they do. And inside the bag, you're gonna get a charger that plugs into the battery very easily. It takes about an hour and a half to charge, and you get about 8 minutes of flight time like you saw. In the back, it takes 3 AAA batteries. Turn it on right here. And inside the bag, you're gonna get 4 props that are labeled A and B. Make sure you get the right ones if you replace them. And it comes with a little handy dandy screwdriver, because if you gotta replace one of the props, you gotta take all these little screws out. But the only way I ever broke one is my dog caught it with his 1 tooth when he caught it in midair and bit it. And if you need to replace one of these props, be sure and use this prop removal tool and pull it out. Because if you just pull on the prop, it's gonna pull the motor through and pull the little wire out. If you break that little wire, the drone's pretty much worthless. Like I said, it comes with 2 batteries. They are kind of hard to pop out. You gotta squeeze really hard. I don't think a little child's gonna be getting them out. Man, one thing is these batteries are 650 watt milliamp batteries. Kind of like on this other little, the Tomzon A34, they are 360, so it's twice as big, but this drone weighs exactly twice as much as that one. And to put them back in, make sure you get it right there, and then you gotta snap them pretty hard, and they pop in. You turn the drone on right here, it'll light up. Turn the remote on, it'll blink until it's bound, and then you gotta calibrate the gyros. And how you calibrate the gyros, make sure it's on a flat surface. There's a little gyro in there, and you pull down and out on both these. Do that every time you take off, before you take off. Just get in the habit of doing it, especially anytime you crash it. Because if you don't, it's gonna kind of move around. But if it is moving around on you, that's what these buttons right here are. These are the trim buttons. So it seems to be drifting to the left or to the right or up and down. You just move these. It takes a little bit of practice, you'll get the hang of it. Right here is your takeoff and landing button. Right here is where you change the lights. All kinds of different things you can do with it. Right here is you push and it'll circle, and you press it, long press it, and it'll do a bigger circle. Right here's your speed button. If you go outside, be sure and go straight to speed 3. If it's in speed 1 right now, if I push it, you get 2 beeps, that's 3 beeps, speed 1. Then your flip button's right here. So you push the flip button, and whichever you push the direction next, it'll flip in that direction. A lot of these need a lot of room to flip. This one did a really small little flip. And of course, the orientation, you'll get the hang of it. Up and down, left and right. It doesn't take long, and you'll start learning how to do it. It has a really nice feel to it when you're holding it. Even though I wish this was up here, like all other drones. It is kind of strange that you got to kind of hold it like this to fly it. So, let's go back for our final review. So I want to thank Tomzon so much for sending me this A34. I really enjoy this drone. I've always had fun with the little micro mini drones, but like I said, the lights just add another pleasurable experience when you're flying the drone. But also having the different colors really helps you keep track of what's the front and back of the drone, so you'll learn the orientation of it even faster, right? And also, they're fun to keep around. If someone wants to fly your big drone, you pull this one out, and teach them how to fly on something like this. So overall, I'm really impressed with it. The flight time was really good. It flew perfect. The controller worked great. There's no latency in the flight. In other words, what that means is when you push it left and right, it turns left and right. There's no delay. You can bounce it off the walls. It seems pretty indestructible. So if you're thinking about getting this for your first drone, it's a really good option. And the link's below if you want to use it. It does help out the channel. Again, thanks Tomzon. So thanks so much for watching, and always, if you got something out of this, please like and subscribe. Subscribers mean everything to me in this channel, and I'll see you in the next one.